to come back into the middle. Keep going, Frank. Get higher. Higher, dude. It's going high, dude. It's going high. Help him! Go! Frank, go left! High now! High! Paris on your shoulder, Paris! Drop off. Christian, get in there. Up high. Who you got? Hey, watch that knee! Get everyone back! Yeah, stay up. Seb, stay up. Seb, you're the only one here.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's full time in the 20s. Congratulations to our Blacktown City boys, 2-1 victors over Wollongong Wolves. Ladies and gentlemen, whilst the first day sides continue with their pre-game warm-up, we'll run through today's starting lineups for you. Versus the Wollongong Wolves in goals, number 1, Daniel Solsky. Number 4, Dylan Ryan. Number 5, Daniel Kanazumi. Number 8, Sebastian Duarte. Number 10, Clint Madden. Number 13, Kate Russell. Number 16, Lucas Trachevsky. Number 17, Marcus Beattie. Number 21, William Ball. The captain, number 24, Lucky Scott. And number 25, Alex Masavecchio. On the bench, number 2, Christian Vukovic. Number 7, Felipe D'Agostini. Number 9, Jack McFatchy. Number 11, Sebastian Hernandez. Number 14, Noah Matthew. Reserve keeper, number 19, Max Cuno. And number 77, Dylan King. Up to your Blacktown City, they went up like this today. Eagles, number 1, Hayden Henderson. Number 4, sponsored by Echo Finance and Home Blacktown City, number 3, Lachlan Till, number 8, and they play midweek, welcome back, Jack O'Brien, number 17, Julian Rodriguez, number 18, sponsored by Leicester Training Trials, Jade Briggs, number 19, sponsored by Isogenics, Sebastian Hayward, number 21, sponsored by JP Rigging, it's Aidan Renshaw, and number 20, the reserve keeper, sponsored by Maya Food Co, it's Cooper Rogers. Ladies and gentlemen, your starting lineups for today's fixture between Blacktown City Wollongong Wolves, this round 10 clash of NPL New South Wales men's competition. Moments away from kickoff. Ladies and gentlemen, GC5 is now open. Main grandstand of Manning Stadium. You make your way up. First entry point, the first flight of stairs. GC5 now open. New South Wales 1, RP Leichhardt 1, and Marconi Stadium 6 defeated SC Raiders 1. All games will be played today. The other games will be played at the same time as this one. Sydney FC taking on St George FC at the Rockdale Ilden Sports Centre. Western Sydney Wanderers taking on Spirit FC at Wanderers Football Park. And the late game today, Sydney United 58 taking on St George City FA at 5 o'clock. We'll keep you up to date with all the scores around the grounds as they happen today in this round 10 of the NPL New South Wales Men's. Please welcome to Blacktown Stadium, your Blacktown City and Wollongong Wolves for this round 10 clash of the NPL New South Wales Men's.
Good afternoon, everybody. A very warm welcome as we stride a third of the way into the 2026 NPL New South Wales men's season. Landed Stadium, the venue this afternoon for Blacktown City versus Wollongong Wolves. Small but vocal crowd in on a sunny Sunday in Sydney's West. The hosts today in a plight they haven't experienced in Mark Crittenden's reign. A 7-game losing streak snapped with a 2-2 draw at Penshurst Park last week, and some confidence built with a 9-0 thumping of Terrigal here on Wednesday. Now they're searching for a first league win at home since August. Their opponents that day, Wollongong, who travel here amidst an unwanted nomadic odyssey of sorts, but critically unbeaten in their last 5 league games. Though they'll feel they could have taken more from the 1-1 draw against SD Raiders last week, their defeat by Sydney United in the Cup means focus is firmly on chasing a top 6 spot and getting prepared for a second Australian Championship campaign. They'll occupy that position in 6th if they take the 3 points here and results elsewhere fall their way. So different carrots for our two combatants. Let's see how they plan to chase them. 3 changes from that team that gained the 2-2 draw for Mark Crittenden away at St George City last week. Nick O'Brien returns to the heart of defence, replacing Lachlan Tilt after a second red card. Saw him suspended a couple of weeks ago. He's wearing the captain's armband alongside Nathan Grimaldi, Jet Long and Kodai Tanaka, flanking them in the back four with Caden Henderson in goal. Adam Berry, Jacob Meneti and Maxime Yej, the midfield three. Caleb Jackson-Brown, a goal scorer last weekend on the right. Riley Nolan retained from that cup game in the week on the left. And Nicholas Skatarich up front in place of Mitch Malia. For Wollongong, two changes. Lucas Trajewski comes into midfield to replace the injured Kazuya Yamamura. And Liam Ball replaces Seb Hernandez on the right. He drops to the bench. It's the same back four in front of Daniel Solski, Marcus Beattie, Banri Kanaizumi, Dylan Ryan and Seb Duarte, with Tate Russell taking up that midfield position alongside Flynn Madden, perhaps. Will it be he or Beattie in there? We'll have a look. Alex Maciovecchio on the left behind Lockie Scott, leading the line again today. All in readiness, perfect conditions for football. And a big 3 points on the line for both teams today. We've got a bit of a false start. And Thomas Dale says we can get things underway. Blacktown City have had a less than ideal start to this campaign. A win on the opening day, win less since in the league. A cup defeat of Terrigal. Integral to getting some confidence back in the team. And Jack O'Brien crucially back on the bench today. Played a 20s stint of 20 minutes off the bench last weekend against St George City. Been recovering from an injury since round 22 last year. Against Rockdale, where he only played 20 minutes here. Top scorer from the two preceding seasons at this club. He's been a sore miss. Skatarich's impact has been noted. And funnily enough, it's actually been the struggles down the other end Blacktown City have had. The 4 red cards they've picked up to this stage in the season haven't helped. They've shipped nearly 2 goals a game, and Lockie Scott's running power and directness is going to be a real struggle for them. That ball was very close to being kept in as well. Nick O'Brien just able to shepherd it over the touchline. It's a younger outfit than Blacktown City have had really over the last decade. I think spine of the squad has slowly been rebuilt over the past couple of years. Nick O'Brien wants the youngster, very much the experienced campaigner. Adam Berry, another one of those. Talk about their successes in the late 2010s. They've got defending to do early here. O'Brien with I'm not sure if he knew too much about it. The referee says he didn't. Caden Henderson claims gratefully. Light breeze blowing across Landon Stadium from behind our gantry position on the western side of Blacktown Football Park. Blacktown City Stadium, as it was known in the interim between the sponsorship change. It's Caleb Jackson-Brown, scorer last weekend. He's returned to the club after a few years away with Hills United, and Mount Druitt Town Rangers made a real impact for Spirit FC in the short stint he had there in the Australian Championship. Developed by this Blacktown City setup, and very happy to have him back in the heart of midfield. It's his first goal since the final day of the 2023 season. It was an absolute beauty down against Rockdale at the Illingdon Sports Centre. Playing in the wide position rather than in the heart of midfield today. And for Wollongong, who started this season shakily, they've managed to get their feet firmly back on the ground over the past 5 weeks, unbeaten in league football, to the point where the draw away from home at SD Raiders, I'm sure internally, was viewed as a bit of a disappointing result given the chances they had in that game. Nice ball out from Caden Henderson, and Blacktown can mount their first attack of the afternoon. Yesh looking to release Jackson Brown, who's got plenty of pace and beats Duarte to the ball. Fortunately, the support coming up inside was a little too slow in materialising. A gorgeous switch of play from Marcus Beattie, who has stepped back into midfield early in this game. Delivery didn't match the initial ball, but Beattie's continued his run forward, thumps the ball into Adam Berry. And Skataric plays a nice bit of hold-up. Turns, faces forward, and now can launch the counter-attack for Blacktown City. Long in support down the left. Maniti and Berry, really the only two retained over the past 3 or 4 seasons in the heart of Blacktown City's midfield. Had a lot of injury struggles as well. Malia and Major, two names that have made such a big impact around this football club over the past couple of years. Neither available for Mark Crittenden today. Can this young core figure their way out of some interesting situations? Jacob Maniti couldn't there. Marcio Vecchio looking to release Beattie. Easily tied it up by Nick O'Brien. Tanaka's ball forwards. Skataric had front spots and cops the bruise from Dylan Ryan, but wins his team the free kick. Mark Crittenden's provided a brave front to the form loss at the start of this season. Spoken of encouraging signs week on week. None more so than last weekend down at Penshurst Park, and Maxim Yesh really has been a bright spot for them. Making his way into the area. One of the first names on the team sheet nowadays. Signing at the club from Bonnyrigg a few seasons ago now. Upped his attacking output to the point where he's already banged in 5 goals this season. Provided a number of assists along with that. Kamikaze stuff coming out of their backline there from Wollongong, but it eventually worked out. Lovely touch from Liam Ball, brought into the starting lineup today. And Marcio Vecchio is in goal-scoring touch. Couldn't find the overlapping run of Seb Duarte. Skataric can try and wriggle his way out of trouble again. A third of the Wollongong defenders to try and sweep across him. Duarte knocks the ball out. Blacktown did the double over Wollongong last season. They got a pretty good record against them under Mark Crittenden. Inflicted some fairly heavy defeats as well. That 2021 campaign where they were top of the league before the COVID interruption. They went down to Albert Butler Memorial Field and beat them by 5-0. Beattie was sent off that day. Beattie turning 30 this year. He's had some time away from football, but down in the Illawarra Premier League, was called back up to Wollongong midway through last season, needing reinforcements in versatility and experience. Far cry from the fleet-footed and at times eccentric winger who broke into the competition. Flashing past players on their outside. He's a very different style of footballer now. Just as effective. Needing to shoulder some responsibility in the centre of midfield today in the absence of Yamamura. A couple of key outs for both teams heading into the afternoon. Skataric has peeled away and Nolan's making the underlapping run. Kanaizumi there to sweep up and clever enough to win his side the throw as well. So Wolves looking for their first goal since the 2-2 draw down at Wynn Stadium against Wollongong a couple of seasons ago. Scorers that day, one Lachlan Scott and Jake True. He's been through a couple of clubs since then. Those two formed a pretty fearsome partnership for the majority of the 2 seasons. True was fit and firing down there. 4-4-2 that was favoured by former coach David Carney. Skataric was the intended target, and then Barry was happy to step out of his midfield position and ensure that Duarte couldn't launch a counter-attack. Ball is down on his haunches here as well. Just copped a knock around all of that. Saying that he's all right, but they're dropping like flies, the Wolves youngsters. 20-year-old Sebastian Duarte. Started every game so far this season for them. Brother Nico with the Central Coast Mariners in the A-League. Uncle Alex Brosk may well be watching on today as well. Hopefully Seb's okay to continue here. It was well, not one that would have tickled, that's for sure. Ball, meanwhile, out of shot, is back to his feet. But a pretty even start to this one. I'd say Blacktown have edged it in terms of the attacking thrust they've showed. By no means have one side had a run of things over the other. Just to take on some water as well. It's cool in the shades, still warm in the sun. Just over 20 degrees as we got to kick off here in Blacktown today. Duarte is back up on his feet, but with a bit of a limp on that right leg that was clattered into by Adam Berry. It's been a game of two teams in the lower half at the moment, rather than two in the top in terms of intensity. That will develop as this game goes on. Wollongong chasing a top 6 spot today. If they can get the 3 points and two concurrent fixtures fall their way, then it's Sydney FC to defeat St George FC and the Western Sydney Wanderers to do a job over Spirit for them. Of course, need to worry about getting the business done here as well, which is no foregone conclusion. Blacktown City with a victory would at least move level with Southern Districts Raiders, who were thumped by 6-1 against Marconi last night, after picking up that impressive point against Wollongong a week ago. At the moment, Blacktown occupying that relegation playoff position. A lot of football to be played this year, and they have had a tough draw to start it, but they want to move out of those sorts of positions sooner rather than later. Need to do it with the help of some defending. Tate Russell tending to get a little bit too tricky there, and then Nolan just pulling up expecting the free kick, which never came. Russell canny enough to get himself back into position. Here's Banri Kanaizumi. He and Ryan have been the preferred central defensive partnership this year. Banri sporting a new, shorter haircut. He's had the long flowing locks for so many years now. Scott in front of Grimaldi. He's taken on a leadership role of his own, Nathan Grimaldi, since moving to the club. Had bounced around a couple since departing the Newcastle Jets in the A-League. I'd hoped to be a sense of assuredness, and he has provided that at different times. He's just not regularly had another 10 players alongside him. Blacktown's defensive woes have been as much down to their inability to keep 11 men on the field as anything so far this season. That wasn't the case last week, though. Heartbreaking late equaliser after Jackson Brown had looked to have won it. He's looking to thrust his team into the lead again here, though. Skitaric onto his left foot. Not his favoured one, but the link up between Skitaric and Jackson Brown is providing promising signs for Blacktown early here. Playing Jackson Brown in that wide position just does give him that measure more freedom to get forward and influence the final third a little bit more than when he's got that responsibility going backwards as well. He's got such a terrific engine. Tireless runner. Sure, that's been part of the message that the Blacktown coaching staff have been giving to him after a couple of goals in the Australian Championship for Spiriters. We want you influencing that half of the field. Let the guys behind you do their job. They're going to have to here as Nick O'Brien sweeps up in front of Scott. Only as far as Trajewski. His incoming starter today after starting against Sydney United in the week. Slightly shorter turnaround for Wollongong, having to go down at Denza Park on Thursday night. Lone kick-off there means they've had 24 hours less rest than their opposition. Weren't as many changes from either of these two sides to those midweek lineups as some different NPL clubs around the competition, particularly Blacktown taking on Terrigal. Crittenden making just the 4 changes. Wollongong did the same against Sydney United. As such, just 2 changes from both from the lineups there to the ones they've put out on the field today. So see if fitness comes into it towards the end of the afternoon. Makes a bright start all the more important. Yet to see a meaningful opportunity for either side after 15 minutes. Skitaric firing over from just outside the box. A couple of minutes ago, about as close as either side has come, but Jackson Brown's running power is really worrying Sebastian Duarte at the moment. He's won his side another attacking free kick here. Ball's direct to him down that side. If they can get Yesh involved down the other flank, then it is going to be a torrid time for the Wolves back 4 this afternoon. Started the brighter here, the hosts. Just what they were looking for. Tanaka and Yesh, the 2-man committee over the football, just one in the wall for Daniel Solski. 4 to aim for along the edge of the penalty area. Yesh, the in-swinger towards Grimaldi. Well dealt with by Madden. Trajewski's the chaser. Maniti's turned himself back into a little bit of trouble there, but between he and Berry, they work it out beautifully. And now Yesh has got numbers ahead of him. Skitaric. Turning onto his left. Nick O'Brien, who stayed forward from the set piece. He's got a pretty solid strike on that right boot. Just couldn't work out away from Scott. Returns it to Berry. And now wide for Long's cross. Easily dealt with by Ryan. Closer to a couple in white than anyone in black on that occasion. Wollongong really being pegged in their own half in the last 5 minutes, though. O'Brien. Blacktown looking to continue their good record against this opposition. Skitaric. Involved consistently. Trying to link up with Maniti now. Done that nicely. Need someone in the box. Tanaka provides that option. Can he finish the Japanese defender? He managed to duck in on his left foot, and the strike was straight at Solski. But chances coming in a flurry now for Blacktown City. Well, Mark Crittenden has spoken about the encouraging signs he's seen from his team over the last week. You saw a glimpse of it there. Well read by Maniti. Wolves struggling to get out again. This time the final ball was lacking from Nolan. Turnover in a cheap area from Wollongong, though. And so Solski just puts his foot on the ball to settle things a little. looked a little unsure of themselves early, the visitors. As they did at the start of that SD Raiders game as well. It must be said they trailed early to a Marty Fernandez goal. Got their bearings after that, but took a little while to warm into the game. Contrast that to the Sydney United game where they were very much competitive for the first half before falling away in the second. I want to find Lachlan Scott more than they have in the opening 15 minutes. They have there. Ball not strong enough to see off Tanaka. He's had a fine start to this game. In fact, Blacktown have just dominated down this flank more than anything. Tanaka, one of the international signings, has joined plenty of Japanese players that have found their home in the NPL New South Wales over the past 4 or 5 seasons. He's taken over the number, worn for so long by Danny Choi here, to his departure for the Sutherland Sharks, playing at a very different role, but doing it with aplomb. Struggling to deal with him early here, Wollongong. Got a pretty attacking right back of their own in Tate Russell, but he's not seen as much of the football as Blacktown's right fullback. And Berry's in the position he loves where he can dictate from deep, and he's looking for Tanaka again. He's got the run on Duarte, just couldn't stretch in time to deliver the cross. But again, Blacktown just looking to unpick Wollongong's well-set defence. Again with good pedigree as well, Tanaka. Most recently with Thai giants, BG Pathum. In their first division, featured consistently in Asian Champions Leagues. Tanaka wasn't a regular starter there after 4 years across the college system in the United States. That's a lovely ball from Nick O'Brien, and Skataric has timed his run. Can he link up with Riley Nolan? He was looking to return the ball to him. Can Izumi back in the nick of time? Blacktown City just missing that final ball at the moment. Their general play has been beautiful. Some of the best we've seen from them so far this season. Tate Russell claiming he was being held by Nolan. Seen that happen one way, then the other. Skataric might have found a way through the offside trap. Flying header from Solski. This game's starting to open up a little bit. The Wolves' complaints continue over what they felt was a free kick that should have been given to Tate Russell. Riley Nolan had argued he should have had one the other way just a few moments prior. Does it all even out? We'll let you be the judge of that. Very difficult to tell from this vantage point. Rather blindsided to all of that. O'Brien, his ball-playing ability and his reinstatement today has been a big help. Wollongong have gone back into their shape and look to make things very difficult since the opening 10 minutes. Again, O'Brien finding a telling pass to O'Brien. Is this a moment? Or Jackson Brown, rather. Long's picked it up from left back. Fired it into one of the white shirts. Crowded around the edge of the 6-yard box. Long doing nicely. Maniti opening up the field. O'Brien for Yesh. Circulating the football, looking for another gap to pick up. Berry too strong for Duarte. Yesh, and again Duarte pinged. That's 2 or 3 free kicks he's given away now. Yesh with some quick thinking. Releases Berry. And the ball is too deep for anyone in black. That final ball still missing for Blacktown. But the sign's so much more promising. As we keep telling you, they haven't won here since August. Blacktown City, they've only played a few home league games. Majority of that has been the off-season, but still it's a longer wait than they're used to. Most successful club in the history of New South Wales football. Of course, didn't feature in the NSL as some of their counterparts towards the top of the table year on year. And the NPL in New South Wales. That ball just falling between three of their players, though. Just switching off for a moment. And it could allow Wollongong forward to devastating effect. Marcio Vecchio drifting wide, looking for Scott. Nearly fell for ball! And a snapshot which is sent wide. The best chance of the game, despite Blacktown's dominance, falls the visitors' way. And ball can't snap it up. Still searching for his second first-grade goal. The first came more than a year ago, back in April of 2025 against Sydney FC. Still only 20 years of age, Liam Ball. They've got high hopes for him, Wollongong, but those are the sort of opportunities they'd love him to be taking. What a precious lead that would have given them. And while the quantity of chances has favoured Blacktown City, the quality of the one that Wollongong have created means they probably feel they should be leading here. And they're coming forward in a flurry again here. Trajewski bundled over by Jackson Brown, who collected the ball first. Henderson not hitting his target. Russell had his ball picked off by Maniti and did well enough to carry the ball back. Tate Russell, who signed for Wollongong for their championship campaign, long-time A-League player, across a couple of different clubs. Would have been seen out in these parts most often by Western Sydney Wanderers fans. He scored the goal that almost sent them through to the quarterfinals in that day down at Collegians when they needed a 6-goal victory to knock Marconi out and take their place in the quarterfinals. Weren't able to do so. Fell a goal short. But Russell's was a goal that Wollongong fans will remember very fondly for some time. Haven't seen him get into those attacking positions quite as regularly so far this afternoon. This has been the pattern of the game for the majority of the first 25 minutes or so. Blacktown working the ball quickly around their front third, trying to unpick this defence, and the ball was on the money from Maniti. Jackson Brown not able to bring it under his spell, though. Another nearly moment for the hosts. And Jackson Brown's runs off the ball, on the ball, are causing headaches for Wollongong. Inside, down the flank. Maniti's ball-playing ability, which we see glimpses of from time to time. Cultured ball player when he is given time like that to deliver. Been part of a Filipino national team, 5-time under-23 international at that level. It's only a couple of years ago. Bring you an update from around the grounds as Will Gotsis does for us over the tannoy, but Blacktown are building another attack. Nolan down the left. He's been bright as well. Just his second start of the season. Filling the very big boots of the record goal scorer at this football club, Travis Major, today. Hasn't looked out of place. Yes, in that roaming role that he's been playing to start the year. Maniti flitting it out to the right where Yej has taken up position, looking to get on that favoured left foot, and he curls it a beauty. Was there a touch? Solsky saves. I think that ball might have beaten everyone, but Solsky had to wait and react, and he did brilliantly to keep the ball out. Curling ball from Yej. Wasn't intended to find the back of the net, but it almost brought his 6th goal of the season. Would have put him right amongst those chasing the early season honours in the Golden Boot race. Damien Sekenis has given himself a 2-goal lead there. It's up to 8 now after a hat-trick last night. Yesh could have put himself close on his tail. It might not be the last we see of him in those attacking areas. Ryan knocks the ball back for BT. Finally, Wollongong are able to put their foot on the ball just for a moment here. Blacktown for the first time, really, all half. Happy to retreat off the ball. For a long spell of it being in play, Trachevsky. Ball ricochets back off him from the block of Nick O'Brien. Goal kick, Blacktown City. About 15 minutes to go here in the first half. Only goal from the two concurrent games. Western Sydney Wanderers and Spirit FC still locked at 0-0. Sydney FC have taken the lead against St George, though, which is happy news for Wolves fans. Need their team to turn the tides in this game, though. Trying to flick that on Jackson Brown. He was unsuccessful in doing so, and then Scott just battered the ball off Flynn Madden. It was all very messy. Summed up some portions of this game. Just as you thought Blacktown City were working themselves out in this game, they've slipped off the level that they were producing in the opening 25 minutes. They've just allowed a window of opportunity for their opposition. There's still always a threat on the break, though, with runners like Skitaric and Nolan and Yej and Jackson Brown. Kanaizumi firm in his challenge there. Turned over by his central defensive partner, Ryan. And Nolan, who's almost timed his run. Not sure if the flag would have gone up in any case. Ball beats him to Solski, though. That's a nice first touch from Russell. Can Wollongong finally provide some spark? Marcus Beattie might be the man to do so. Grimaldi just allowed to run. There's just been moments like that in the match where Blacktown City have been allowed to get out of their own half a little too easily. Nolan now engaging Russell. Youth against experience. Youth might have won out here. So the ball was set back for Long to deliver. Now Nolan. Grimaldi. Berry. Tanaka stretching to keep the ball in play. He's done so. His left foot's pretty good. If he can get onto that one. Hangs it up deep. Well read by Russell. Jackson Brown close in attendance. Grimaldi turning away from the very isolated Lachlan Scott to this point in the match. And Russell happy to shepherd the ball out of play. Well, Blacktown City perhaps in an unfamiliar situation so far this season, playing with so much of the ball, so much of the territory. Not been able to break down the set defence which faces them. Though it's been an unusual situation for them this season, it certainly was a regular one a year ago. Jackson Brown felling Madden and getting a rather stern talking to from referee Thomas Dull, who's had a pretty quiet afternoon to this point. The challenge was late and a little high as well. That'll be a final ticking off for the 23-year-old midfielder. The pattern of the game has been this, dictated by the fact that both teams have been pretty keen to sit deep without the ball, neither pressing too high. And what are pretty warm conditions, although early winter has felt wintry in Sydney, really for the first time in 2026 over the last week or so. Shouldn't be any qualms about the fitness of the players, though, 10 rounds in. Skataric. Yej. Maybe some weary legs from midweek football for the first time. Skataric's ball. Searching for Nolan, read by Ryan. And into a heavy challenge. Jackson Brown more committed and comes out the winner. Then a late one from Duarte. No foul, says the referee. Yej has taken up the football in any case, and his cross is too deep for long. Jackson Brown went very tough into the initial challenge, but that looked pretty fair. And then Duarte tried to have a bite back, and so he gets a word from the referee, who's seeming to indicate that there was an advantage at play there. Our final warning. I have to say, two pretty subdued technical areas as well so far today. That will certainly change if the scores stay level after half-time. Mention it for Blacktown City. Jack O'Brien back on their bench today. Just how many minutes he's got in those legs is interesting. Long time out of the game with leg injury, lower leg injury. Rather wasteful from the throw, all things considered. Reminder as well, we've got a 5 o'clock game coming up as well in the NPL New South Wales men's to close the round. Sydney United facing St George City. United, who knocked Wolves out of the cup in midweek, looking to win their 10th straight to start the season, which would be a record in the NPL era of New South Wales football. Currently level with the 2014 Blacktown Spartans, who didn't go on to win any silverware that year. Wonder whether the United experience is going to be any different. Seb Duarte's ball in, just evading anyone in white, and even though Marcio Vecchio attempted to keep the ball in play, it's shielded behind by Long. Nine minutes to go. Mentioned the Blacktown Spartans. Blacktown City, after that win over Terrigal in midweek, have drawn them in the cup. It was a derby of some consequence through the mid-2010s. Both were up and about in terms of claiming silverware and contesting the finals places. They'll come together in the 5th round. Exciting time for football in this area of Sydney. Kanaizumi commanding coming out of the back, but the ball fell to Nolan, who he then bundled over. Easy decision for the referee. Sebastian Hernandez, who's looking to get back in the goals. Overlooked today in favour of young Trodeszki. Tanaka's ball was almost finding the head of Jackson Brown, cleared away by Kanazumi. Berry trying to take it up on his thigh. Skataric with a touch in behind, Beatty watchful as ever back there. Skataric, influential early, but he's faded out of this first half a little as the Wolves have gained a foothold and started to go forward more and more often themselves. Haven't seen too much of Lockie Scott yet today. I'd love him to have a telling impact here as he looks for the 1-2 with Marcio Vecchio. Well read by Grimaldi, who does more than that. Pressure relieving free kick, one for Blacktown City. Scott is just looking for a little more support when he does break through that. For Marcio Vecchio picking the ball up very deep. Scott having to do a lot of the legwork. He's still been battling through a couple of different injuries since the end of last season. Managed to get himself fit for the Australian Championship where he starred. Hasn't quite had the goal return we're used to at the start of the 2026 season after seeing limited minutes for the opening couple of rounds. Just the one goal so far in 2026 for Lockie Scott. Flynn Madden dropping a long way in there to try and pick up the football. Solski looks beyond him for his captain, who chested it down beautifully. Masio Vecchio. Duarte. Madden. It's a gorgeous ball, and Scott's pulled away to the right now. Coming back there was Jackson Brown. Went up rather than out. Grimaldi with a commanding header over the top of Scott to see off the danger for now. 5 minutes to go, and for the first time here today, Wollongong looking as though they've got some sort of momentum. Tate Russell coming out of his most appearances in an A-League season back in 2024-25. Couldn't find a contract at the end of the year, so took up the offer from the Wollongong Wolves. Key part of their very close run in the championship, which I mentioned a couple of times during the broadcast. Wolves unbeaten in 5 in the league heading into this game. Didn't exactly look like it for the opening half hour. Found their feet without the punishment of going behind. Long's ball picked off by Russell. Back there, Jackson Brown just working so hard as he always does. Sure, he wasn't expecting to come back into a relegation battle, Jackson Brown, but he's had experience in those with Hills United and Mount Druitt Town Rangers over the last couple of seasons. Unfortunately for him, they've been unsuccessful campaigns, but it's always been highly sought after signature for clubs at this level. As such, has been able to find more starting minutes again under his own old coach, Mark Crittenden. Trashevsky. It's where Blacktown City do press. They occasionally are causing issues, but they've been a little reluctant to do so. The turnover comes anyway. Jackson Brown off for Yesh, who played the pass a bit blind. Tanaka will still try and make something of it. It's a nice turn from Marcio Vecchio. He's been in good form to start this season. He's tracking back and doing the defensive work there. And they've required a bit more of that than they probably desired over the opening 45 minutes. It's been a tough slog at times. As we tick towards half-time, maybe it's coming at the wrong time for the visitors. Scott up and winning the header. It's all been pretty agricultural stuff from those sort of situations from Wollongong, though. Looking for Scott, not oft finding him. Looked better when they played through midfield like that, with Madden and Beatty linking up. Ball swept away as they look to find Scott again. Not always easy to play that style of football on this London Stadium pitch either. It's one of the older synthetics around the competition. It always bounces true as some of the newer ones. It's one of the most well-used pitches in New South Wales as well. Plenty of junior football have been on all day here. Blacktown City getting a win in the 20s game, which preceded this one. Score of 2-1. Winning goal coming in the closing stages of that game as well. Henderson happy to go route one as the ball was laid back to him. Easily worked out for Wollongong. Solski with just under a minute of regular time to play in the opening half. Chances came to Blacktown City in the opening half hour. And then a clear opportunity to Liam Ball, which was sent over the cross, sent wide of Caden Henderson's net. Can they build for one last attack before the break? Russell's ball, promising. Tanaka to the top of the box where there are enough black shirts back to clear. Ryan for Madden. Felt he was fouled, but looked like weight of numbers that took the ball off him. Barry calls for Riley Nolan to go for the 1-2, but plays it far too far ahead of him. Damien Delovsky just about to tell us how long we'll be at it on at the end of the first half. First half, Wollongong don't want to end at the moment. 2 more minutes to find the opening goal. Marcio Vecchio to ball again. He's already had one chance. This one finds the back of the net. Scott claiming the final touch. It's not one of his prettier goals, but it's given the Wolves the lead. Appeals from Blacktown City for a potential offside. Those protests waved away. And the visitors who'd built into this first half have found the game's opening goal just before the halftime whistle. Disappointing for Blacktown, given how well they started, but didn't take their opportunities and have been punished. And the small but hearty Wolfpack, who have travelled to Blacktown City today, are making the most noise. Landon Stadium standing frustrated again, hoping the mire isn't deepened. An 8th straight league. Oh, how about that from Riley Nolan? What a way to answer! As quickly as Wollongong led, Blacktown have found the leveller. A stunning strike. A thumping volley, which left Solski with no chance. Well, they needed that, Blacktown City. A response. And one becoming a club this size with their reputation and their expectations. They needed that. Came so quickly, it caught me by surprise. And why not? You won't see too many purer hits of a football. Was he allowed too much space? Well, Wollongong a little bit switched off, having taken that lead and having worked so hard for it. Blacktown have thrown back down the challenge. Well, I was going with that thought just before Nolan rudely interrupted me. It was a 9th game without a win. Uncharted territory for Mark Crittenden and Blacktown City in his tenure, but they've taken a big step back to finding the 3 points. All the action late. The opening goal, we think we're crediting it to Lachlan Scott. He'll certainly claim it, but Liam Balls was the telling strike, which undid the Blacktown City defence before Riley Nolan, one of the new stars filling the boots of Travis Major, not available today, making quite the name for himself. With an equaliser just before the break. So, at Landon Stadium after 45 minutes, it's Blacktown City 1, Wollongong Wolves 1.
Apologies, ladies and gentlemen, we're having some technical issues at the moment with the audio, so working on it as we speak.
Welcome back to Landon Stadium, the second half of this round 10 clash between Blacktown City and the Wollongong Wolves, about to get back underway. The two goals coming right at the end of the first half. Lachlan Scott, we've confirmed, got the final touch on Liam Ball's strike to give him his second of the year before a thumping volley from Riley Nolan gave him his third goal in first grade football. In the NPL, at least for Blacktown City. He scored during the week as well against Terrigal. He's got the goal-scoring boots on, and that brought Blacktown City level after a pretty poor end to the first half. I had started the brighter. Just looking to take those opportunities more and more regularly. My name is Alex Molchanov, along with you for this Football New South Wales broadcast. And there's a substitution at half-time. Sebastian Hernandez has been brought on. He's replacing Seb Duarte. So a little bit of a rejig. Ball moving back into midfield alongside Marin and Trachevsky, with the versatile Marcus Beattie slotting in at left fullback. Hernandez pushing up on the right-hand side. So a little bit of change. Julia Miranda is in charge of the team today for the Wollongong Wolves. Clearly wanted to add a bit of attacking cut and thrust, given the way that they've ended that first half. Can they retain the momentum despite copping that blow just before the break? And here is Hernandez with those fresh legs, darting through midfield, beating a couple of Blacktown players and trying to slot in Lockie Scott, who got the first touch. Henderson stayed big, kept his feet. Managed to claim before Scott could get a second goal of the game. But Nolan, after that opening goal, looks as though he might be a more frequent outlet for Wollongong in the second half. Ball under hitting that pass as he spun, and he puts up a hand in apology. There is Beattie, that left full-back position after starting the game in the heart of midfield, tracked by one of the opposition midfielders, Adam Barry. The throw goes Beattie's way. Madden. Nice touch away from a couple, and Yash couldn't make the interception. Russell. Wollongong starting their second half, how they finished the first. Hernandez. Long touch, not the final one. According to the assistant on the near side, Ethan Svargules. Jot Long did enough. Bit of feedback for the refereeing team from the Wollongong bench. Thought they should have had a corner after all of that. Nice touch from Nolan. He's really looking buoyed by that early goal. Jackson Brown the wrong side of the defence. Nolan. Both teams coming out with guns blazing in the second half. Barry. Oh, not his usual considered ball-playing ability. Did have a season when Blacktown City made it to the final. It was a statistic, his pass completion rating for a central midfielder playing in the busiest parts of the field was up around 90%. Skataric. Full of energy and intent. Shot is blocked by Ball. Russell trying to dribble his way out of trouble. Got a little bit of luck with a touch off Long. Now there's appeals for a handball against Hernandez. Play allowed to continue. Curling ball has found Trachevsky, who was offside. Starting to become a little more fractious. It was a quiet opening 45 minutes for the refereeing team. And Grimaldi will probably want that pass back. Crittenden providing him that feedback from close in attendance. It's one thing from our commentary position here at Landon Stadium, now on this new scaffold, as of about a year ago. Do get exactly the thoughts of the two technical areas. As close as you are almost to any pitch around the competition. Yej leading the press, looking to get this ball back from Nolan. Russell using all his experience to try and shield his way out of trouble and win a free kick, which he eventually bought. Apologies if you've heard any of the feedback. Scott, who was looking to hold the ball up, but turned it over. Really has been an arm wrestle to start this second half. Long wins the initial header. Scott turning away from Berry. Tight, close control. There was a couple amongst Lachlan Scott who wanted the free kick. Now the referee points for an advantage, which didn't look to have accrued. Tanaka heading the ball out of play, and so Wollongong will get a throw. They'll have to settle for that. Beatty. Start to the second half. Wollongong on a run of 5 games unbeaten in the league. Blacktown without a win in their last 8. Hernandez's cross. It's behind the Blacktown defence. Rachevsky couldn't get the strike away. Nick O'Brien well positioned. We're in the captain's armband today. The absence of Travis Major stood up to that level. Brother Jack is on the bench, ready if needed today. Just how long will he see? Turned for 20 minutes against Terrigal during the week. As mentioned in the first half, might well be looking for his goal-scoring experience if Blacktown need a late goal. Whether an equaliser or want to go and snatch all 3 points. Defending to do first. O'Brien and Scott together again. Grimaldi clears. Beatty just hesitating as the ball went towards him, and Skataric has managed to pinch the ball off him. Yej. Maniti and Berry. Nice ball from Nick O'Brien. He's looking assured with the ball at his feet this afternoon. Tanaka. Jackson Brown clattered by Dylan Ryan as he looked to turn. I think Blacktown City are going to go shorts here, yes. Wondered whether they might set things up for a ball into the penalty area. They have looked to be attacking and proactive with the football, keeping it as much as possible. At different times there has been moments like that. Turnovers under little pressure. And then at different times as well, though they have had that sustained spell of possession in the Wollongong half. They've looked a little ponderous. Appeals for a handball from Wollongong, waved away again. Skataric runs through and in behind the Wolves' defence. Yej. Linking up with his old mate Skataric. Teammate sits there about 12 years old. Ball played to the back post, Tanaka, and this time the handball's blown against Blacktown. Movement's piece falls over the game again. There have been tight, tense affairs over the past couple of seasons. We brought to you in the first half that Blacktown did the double against Wollongong last year. Played out a 2-2 draw down at Wynn late in 2024. Wolves won 1-0 here the year before. thanks to a goal from, you guessed it, Lockie Scott. That goal today makes it 2 in his last 4 against this, 3 in his last 5 against this opposition. And he wins that commanding header above the central defenders across in cover, and Grimaldi is forced to turn the ball behind. The breeze picks up and the temperature drops just a little. So Flynn Madden with a first real opportunity to deliver from one of these set-piece situations for Wollongong this afternoon. They haven't had too many. What have they got to throw at Caden Henderson? The 5 have made a bank around him for Blacktown City. It's a ball too close to the goalkeeper. Wind might have helped it on its way. Wollongong not even given an opportunity to make something of one of the few set-piece chances they've had today. Blacktown have refound their foothold in the game, but Wollongong have been more assertive in terms of their press and what they're doing off the ball. Nice flick on from Nolan. It's been good in the air as well today. It's been an all-round performance, and he's off the shoulder and onside here. Riley Nolan covering defence from BT, who appeals for the offside. I think he was the one keeping Nolan on. In any case, he's managed to get across and smother the shot. Interplay down the left again. Maxime Yesh playing the telling pass. Blacktown had almost come from behind to take the lead here, just before the hour mark. Not to be just yet, but they'll throw some more numbers forward. Grimaldi there. Nick O'Brien, not the tallest central defender. It's profession to the air, and Skataric providing a headache that Daniel Solski would prefer not to have. Tanaka comes over to the near side to deliver. It's not a bad ball either. It just wouldn't fall for a player in black after Grimaldi had missed the initial header. He puts his head in his hands. So he had a pretty free run at the ball. Deflection off one of the white shirts in there. And so Yesh will go to the far side to whip in another delivery. Have to put a bit more on it. Wind blowing back across to that side of the pitch from behind our commentary position. 2 hands in the air. Ball goes near post, easily dealt with by Ryan. Berry face to face with Madden. Thumped clear by Treshevsky. Masio Vecchio in the foot race with Jackson Brown, and Madden has managed to make something of this. Masio Vecchio, sorry. Well, there might be a result from a long ball down the other end for Blacktown City. Yesh with numbers in support. Wollongong haven't got back. Nick O'Brien through for Skataric, and Solski saves the day. Off the line for their defence last year, Wollongong, it's been a lot sturdier at the start of 2026. That's been in no small part thanks to Solski, who claimed that number 1 jersey for himself midway through last season. He's oft been a bystander today. Can't think of a meaningful save outside of the one he just made there. Obviously beaten by Nolan's terrific half volley at his near post. To say, apart from the 2 goals, there hasn't been too much for Solski or his opposite number, Caden Henderson, to do, as he picks up that header back to him from Nick O'Brien. Long right on the touchline, but had his distances judged to perfection. O'Brien for Skataric. Started out to the right. It's looking more fluent from Blacktown in the last 5 minutes. Still searching for that final delivery. Ryan in the way again. Masio Vecchio setting off in counter-attack. Madden through midfield. Ball just held up Hernandez slightly. But he's happy to take on Long. And the delivery for Scott. Flicked it over his head and Maniti sweeps up. Well, it puts the ball out to the stadium on the near side. It's not a very high fence behind our commentary position here at Landon. Hernandez. "15 minutes of this second half gone. The closest either team has come was that slide rule pass for Skataric that was cut off at his feet by Solski. And he's come deep to receive this one, Nicholas Skataric. Route one from Liège, but Jackson Brown might make something of this. He's stronger than he looks. And he certainly gave Dylan Ryan something to think about there. Trachevsky allowed a lot of space to turn there. And Masio Vecchio only cut off by Tanaka. It's influential getting forward early, Kodai Tanaka. He's been pegged in his defensive half by the pressure of Wollongong over the second 45 minutes, of which we've seen 16 so far. Goals both coming within a minute of each other before the break. Lockie Scott's opener, assisted from the intended shot by the man who's just been booked Liam Ball. Answered in double quick time by Riley Nolan. Second goal of the week after scoring against Terrigal in that cup tie. First goal in the first grade of NPL New South Wales this season. Can he find a second and become the hero even further? Will there be an answer from one of the other experienced heads? Tanaka. Maniti. Looking for that deep run of Liège, but easily cut off by Solski. Wollongong, every time they've had a ball played in like that, have looked to go quickly. Russell rides the challenge of Nolan. Madden. Nice little link up. Gorgeous football from Wollongong. If it can just fall for Madden, it didn't quite. And Nick O'Brien on his side of the pressure, relieving free kick as well. Been a game of nearlies from both teams. Those late runs into the box that just haven't sat for players looking to strike on goal. It's been a grit and a grind. Points that will prove precious for either team that's able to go on and grab two more now. Wollongong in a position where they could sit sixth at the end of the afternoon. Not quite there yet, though. Blacktown have looked cool and calm defensively to this point. It's been the late goals that have killed them this season, though, as they did last week against St George City, where they had a lead with 15 minutes to play and couldn't come away with all 3 points. Second change of the game for Wollongong. Felipe D'Agostini. A bit more playing time. It'll be his 5th appearance of the season on for Trachevsky. The experienced Canadian. And for the 19-year-old Trachevsky, who's building a name for himself. Certainly impressing when he is getting the opportunity to start games. Turn and fire from Scott in one motion, and it's released Madden. On its left by D'Agostini. Scott was nearly there, and then D'Agostini under the challenge of Nick O'Brien. The appeals quickly waved away. And to D'Agostini's credit, none of them really came from him. It was a last-ditch challenge from Tanaka. Otherwise, Scott would have had a free swing at the ball from no more than 7 yards. Wollongong continuing to push, and this time Berry brings down Madden, and that's going to bring a booking with it. Combative midfielder Adam Berry, but he's not one who picks up too many yellow cards. A couple of free kicks he's considered now, and that one has seen the referee reach the end of his tether. This one far enough from Caden Henderson's goal that he's feeling safe to go with just the 2 in it. In his wall. And Madden, who won the free kick, looks as though he's going to be entrusted to take. Tate Russell's sliding forward. Madden might be thinking about going for goal himself here if he can strike the ball solidly enough. Just one in the wall. He's gone the cute option. Scott. Oh, I'm not sure what the end idea was there. Something clever. The chest of Lockie Scott is never a bad idea. Probably needed 1 or 2 coming with him to support. Skitaric looking a little leggier than he did 20 minutes ago. And then Yej, whose delivery today has been pretty good, is there. The doctor orders fresh legs for Blacktown City. Sebastian Hayward's, Skitaric to be removed. Another workmanlike display from Skitaric, who can add to his 2 goals for Blacktown City so far this season. So Nolan going into the central striking role. Hayward moving to the left. It's a diminutive young front 3 that are going to go chasing the winner here for Blacktown City in the final quarter of this game. Everything Wolves are going to do from here is going to be structured. Scott had his hands all over Maxim Yej. It's a pretty clear view from our vantage point. Similar one to what the referee was seeing. It's been a situation Mark Crittenden has not seen in his time as Blacktown City coach. As we mentioned, 8 games without a win in league football. Have to go back to 2020 when they lost 6 of 7 during the COVID pandemic shortened season. By far the worst in Crittenden's tenure. Ball letting his frustrations be known there. Been critical through the centre of midfield today. Lions headed down for Madden. That 2020 campaign is the last time Blacktown City missed finals. Talking about them as one of the bottom 2, you have to go back all the way to 2008. Well, they finished bottom but weren't relegated because of the club championship regulations that were in play there. MacArthur Rams went down. Blacktown City won the premiership a year later. Haywards pinching the ball off Tate Russell and just a yard or 2 short of Riley Nolan again. Solski's been alive to danger like that all afternoon. Hasn't been one of those goalkeeping performances you look at and go, well, without him, They might not be where they are in this game, but he's had to be alive and tidy in his work today. Hasn't been heroic. This game might be looking for one of those. The final 20 minutes. It's going to be a moment of magic. A mistake. Something in between. Differentiates these two teams. Hernandez looking to run at his defender. He's done nicely. Delivery didn't match the flashing feet. He's hoping for Lachlan Scott to make the run across. Wollongong still in the position where a goal here would take them into the top 6. Because of results around the grounds, the Wanderers have taken the lead against Spirit FC. Sydney FC leading 4-2 against St George in what has been a high-scoring affair down at the Ellenden Sports Centre. Sydney FC led 4-0 there. St George have scored 2 in the last 5 minutes to bring some sense of respect to that scoreline from their perspective. Sydney FC team that have been badly out of form as well. Nice turn from D'Agostini. Release the Wolves from their defensive pressure. Big switch from Madden. And Hernandez has timed his run. Henderson had to sweep. Yes, without the hairband in. Hair flowing. 2 more changes coming from Julio Miranda. It's going to be more of that Wollongong youth, which they've been leaning on an increasing amount. Berry for Tanaka. Defending to do first for the visitors. Berry likes to deliver from these areas, but a free kick spotted by the referee before the ball had even entered the penalty area. There was very little complete from Maxim Yeshu. It seemed to have been blown against as well. Disappointing because Berry, so I was winding up to say, likes delivering from those sort of areas. Well, there's not an obvious target in there. So 2 substitutions here for Wollongong. Jack McClatchy making his debut wearing number 9. Special moment for the 19-year-old. On for Alex Maciovecchio and Liam Ball, who set up Lachlan Scott's opener. He's going to be replaced by Dylan King. Only 19 himself, debuted last year against Sydney FC. So is it going to be a new hero that's going to emerge today for one of these two teams? There's plenty of youngsters out there that could take the mantle. Grimaldi frustrated with the decision. Went over the top of Lockie Scott, who had his feet firmly planted. You can see Grimaldi making his point rather vehemently. Scott's experience and smarts getting the better of his opponent there. It's just got the feel of a moment like this being the telling one. Today there's not been too many opportunities developed from open play. Tate Russell over this free kick. Again, Caden Henderson happy with just the 2 in his wall. This one's a couple of yards closer than the one from the opposite side of the box, and Russell strikes it straight into the 2 in the wall. Nick O'Brien brave in the challenge. D'Agostini turning it over to Hayward. Nolan, how fresh are those legs? Not enough to keep the ball in. Hernandez for Madden. Grimaldi under all sorts of pressure. Strong enough to retain possession. Maybe took a touch too many. Madden then slides in on Madden. Won the ball cleanly. And a bit of a push off the ball as well from Madden as he returned to his feet. Kanaizumi darting in. As always, in the time where winning is done, tempers begin to fray somewhat. Grimaldi putting himself about. Dropped a little bit of a hand from Flynn Madden, so there wasn't too much untoward in it though. Well, if Grimaldi's holding his wrist as though he's been stepped on as he got back to his feet as well. 15 minutes to play. I'd say don't go anywhere because I feel these may be the most entertaining 15 we've had all afternoon. Barry. Tanaka. Back for Nick O'Brien. Still no sign of Jack at the moment. He's down rather lightly, warming up at the moment. Don't know if he'll be thrown into the cut and thrust of a game like this just yet. Sebastian Hayward doing enough to win his side an attacking corner. We've just heard across the tannoy from Will Gottis that Spirit have got an equaliser out at Rudy Hill. Bad news for Wollongong. It'll be worse news if they cop a second goal here and have to chase the game with 14 minutes to play. Alex Pucciarelli just helping Grimaldi with whatever has bothered him with his wrist. Maxim Yeji is waiting for Grimaldi to make his way all the way forwards and give him an additional target in the box. So, finally all in readiness. The ball's deep towards Grimaldi. Easily claimed by Solsky, who's keen to get going. Hayward, the only man forward in white. Oh, and Long and Hernandez coming together. The free kick goes against the Wolves attacker. Both players seem to have more eyes for one another than the ball. Wollongong perhaps a little unfortunate that the whistle was blown against them. Sloppy from Maniti. Really cheap, that turnover. And it's allowing Wollongong forwards. Touch for King. And Hernandez going with the outside of his right foot. Right foot, almost a Travella. Looking to deliver for D'Agostini. King. Oh, Ryan, I should say. For Beatty. Now King and Maniti rather less cute with that touch. And I tell you what, Nolan's giving Ryan something to think about. It's been the story of his afternoon. Still full of running in those young legs. The 18-year-old. He's had a fine afternoon. Russell. Kanaizubi sweeping the ball across the field. Neither team look content with just a point here. Both throwing numbers forward when they get the opportunity. King and Hernandez. Better from Wollongong. Hernandez straight into Grimaldi. It's fallen for Scott. And the ball is right on the line. It's over the line. Lockie Scott, the difference maker for Wollongong Wolves again. A healthy deflection, and the ball has trickled just far enough to cross the line. A heartbreaker for Blacktown. Grimaldi blocked the initial effort, but it spooned up in the air. And it was the last man the host would have wanted on the end of it. Lockie's got a brace. That's 4 in 5 for him against Blacktown City now. And it's going to take something of a miracle for Blacktown to find their second win of the season now. Those game-defining moments just not falling their way. So a moment to mark here as well. Jack O'Brien returning for the first time since July last year from injury. Long time in the waiting. Can he play the hero on his return? It's a big ask, 11 minutes to find at least one goal, hopefully two, from a Blacktown perspective. And Jet Long's turnover is not going to help their cause there. Hernandez, can Scott add his hat-trick? He leaves it selflessly. D'Agostini finishes it off. 2 in 2 minutes for Wolves. And they should be home and dry now. Blacktown's concentration slipping, and they have been punished in double quick time. Felipe D'Agostini. His first goal for Wollongong comes at a very, very important time. The 25-year-old Canadian. A team that has been crying out for a little bit more attacking push has found it here on this Sunday afternoon from one of their substitutes and their captain. He's moved to 3 on his season tally, having started at 1. Jet long remove for Hayden Renshaw in the dying moments. And now Blacktown need 2 to steal even a single point. The debutant McClatchy able to win the initial challenge but not keep the ball in play. Nice ball to Julian Rodriguez, who's come on in that slate of Blacktown substitutions as well. Here's a chance for Jackson Brown, who flicked the ball up in the air. The ball was cut out. Tanaka's header. Renshaw not the most convincing first touch. McClatchy to King, and Berry happy to run the ball out of play. Needs to get the ball back in as quickly as possible. Grimaldi. Nick O'Brien. Nice touch with Tanaka. They've looked better when he's been involved today, Blacktown, but he has not seen much of the ball whatsoever in the second half, in an attacking sense anyway. Berry. Grimaldi. Frustrating afternoon for him. Renshaw. It's a good ball to pick out Rodriguez, and Jack O'Brien's been brought down. Battering through there's Jackson Brown. Couldn't get a shot away, and then Hernandez is dragged to the turf by Renshaw. Pressure relieving free kick for Wollongong. And I have to say, despite the fact Wollongong have not looked at their best today, they've ground out the result here. Taken the opportunities that have come their way. A hint of fortune about the goal that put them ahead with Lockie Scott, both from the ricochet and then the deflection from his effort, which only just made its way over the line. But there was no doubt about D'Agostini's effort a minute later, which was largely Blacktown's doing in terms of where they turned the ball over. D'Agostini, Scott looking for his hat-trick. Hernandez. Russell overlapping. He's got a few to aim for in the box. They've far from put the cue in the rack here. Wollongong, maybe Russell is now. He's kept the ball in. Evading Renshaw. Still he's in there between he and Yaz, and he's wriggled free of that challenge as well, eventually. Blacktown City managed to win the ball back, and then Haywood turns it over again. Madden's ball. D'Agostini's got the taste for goals after scoring his first for Wollongong. Not able to find a second, but now it's all turning a little bit the wrong way for Blacktown City. It's looking a little panicked. There's an 8th loss in 9. Beckons in the league anyway. That cup win over Terrigal is going to seem like cold comfort this evening. King. Dropping the ball back, but a precious 3 points for Wollongong. It's good run of form continues in league football. They've had to work very, very hard for this one. They've shown enough, particularly in the last 20 minutes, to prove they deserve it. And Scott looking for the inside ball for Hayward. Started his run just a little wider than his skipper would have liked. Only Sydney Olympic keeping Blacktown City off the bottom of the table at the moment. Team they beat in round one, and how critical is that result looking right now? Meet again in a few weeks' time, those two. Doesn't get any easier with Sydney FC beating St George. Suddenly they're looking a little bit more dangerous, back into the top half of the table. That's Blacktown's next trip, next weekend. This same Sunday, 3 p.m. kick-off time at Illingdon Sports Centre. And they host Spirit FC here, UNSW away, and St George FC at home to round out the first round of the Robin, if you want to put it that way, for Wollongong. Back down in the Illawarra next week, hosting the Sutherland Sharks. Themselves have found a rich vein of form recently. Much vaunted new project. Two teams in very different states at the moment, Sutherland and Wollongong, but sitting very close together on the league table at the end of round 10. Seb Hernandez has looked very lively since coming on at half-time, and the substitution from Julio Miranda really has made the world of difference, just given the Wolves another attacking outlet. And Beatty's done pretty well to this stage, and he's done well enough to win a free kick, even with Julian Rodriguez darting in behind him. Not really sure what that was all about. Daniel Solski just booted the ball away. Got himself a rather unnecessary booking. Bit good since returning to Wollongong, and Solski's put in another solid performance. As we said before, the two goals, not a spectacular one. Just going to be careful. It's been put in the book. No need to waste any more time with the 2-goal advantage. Groan of frustration from Solski as he sent that ball over the touchline. So with those results, Spirit have picked up a point, which means Wolves will move level with them. And St George FC looking as though they're going to drop out of the top 6. Wollongong, after winning just one of their first 4, are going to be unbeaten in 6, winning 4 of those games and moving very much in the right direction. Ryan's long ball, and as long as it's up that end now for Wollongong, I think they'll be pretty happy with that. Quite a few long faces around Landon Stadium. I mean, this is going to be a battle of a year. Fighting for survival at a club that for so long has prided itself on punching above its weight and showing the wares needed for silverware. Has not been the case in 2026. As Yej brings down Jack McClatchy, been very good in his debut. First grade, ever present in the 20s so far this year, so far this season. Well, it's route one, and Scott is got Grimaldi pegged. Flynn Madden not able to get onto the knockdown. 4 minutes to be added on. You feel that it's a bit of a relief for Wollongong. No, they won't have to defend too doggedly. I'll tell you what, they haven't had to do too much defending at all. Been calm and cool and keeping the football. Nick O'Brien trying to find Jack. The most direct method. Flicking the ball on. Here's a chance for Jackson Brown. Hoping for Hayward at the near post, but had played the ball blind. Rodriguez. Barry for Tanaka. Scott running forwards, and Hernandez just not able to time his run. That touch from Nick O'Brien probably prevented Hernandez from going in behind again. Rodriguez. Howard's been a willing runner up there, but has been feeding on scraps since his introduction. Noah Matti looks as though he's going to be the final substitution. Lockie Scott. His 2 goals made the difference. Felipe D'Agostini adding a third, but it's been a return to form for the Wollongong skipper. 2 critical goals against an opponent he loves to face. 4 goals in his last 5 against them. And he's made the difference. Bloody at the knees, but happy if that's the price he's had to pay. How often have they relied on his goals for success? He's thrust them back into the top 6 with his performance this afternoon. Appeals for the handball. I have to say, I'm not sure there was much Dylan Ryan could do to get out of the way of that one. Clever flick from Hayward and a clever run from Rodriguez, which is slalomed into the penalty area. Terrific challenge, though, from McClatchy, who's looked right at home, and his teammates surround the man on debut. So congratulate him for the gritty defensive work that he carried out there. Matter of time now before the 3 points are secure for Wollongong. And they move into the finals places for the first time in 2026. D'Agostini, clever enough to win his side the throw. A couple of the fans you can see in the back there on there, making their way out of Landon Stadium, disappointed again. Especially after Blacktown started this game so strongly. In the first half hour, they looked the only team to win it. Could Jack O'Brien grab a late consolation here? He's trying to lob Solski. Not quite clever enough to find the finish. And that is the final effort of a day that's belonged to Wollongong. 2 goals to Lockie Scott, either side of the break. An equaliser in between those from Riley Nolan. His strike will be remembered on a personal level, but it's a footnote here after Scott's second and Felipe D'Agostino's first in the NPL for Wollongong Wolves. They're inside the top 6 this evening for the first time in 2026 as Blacktown City's battle continues to develop down the bottom. Not too many thought we'd be saying that at the start of the campaign. Thank you very much for your company here from Landon Stadium this afternoon. Well, the final score reads Blacktown City 1, Wollongong Wolves 3.